Welcome back. We're going to continue with more news and updates. We are watching three major processes that all speak to one thing, and it's looking at the health of our criminal justice system at large. In Parliament, Vusimuzi Matlala appeared before the Ad Hoc Committee probing corruption in the police. In Pretoria, the Madlanga Commission was hearing explosive testimony about why KwaZulu-Natal political killings task team, of course, was disbanded. The Nkabinde Inquiry, National Director of Public Prosecutions, Shamila Batohi, has been giving tough evidence on whether Gauteng DPP Andrew Chauke is still fit to hold office. To help us unpack the law, the powers that these bodies have, what it all means for accountability and future prosecutions, we're going to be joined by Professor Nirmala Gopal, ukzn criminologist, who joins us virtually. Prof. Nirmala, thank you for your time and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Lisa. It's always a pleasure to be on your show.
Prof, the big picture that we're going to hone into. We've got Parliament's Ad Hoc Committee hearing, we've got the Madlanga Commission, we've got the Nkabinde Inquiry as well. And I wonder if we're looking at from that legal perspective, what each process actually is undergoing, how they all begin to fit together in that broader accountability landscape. Talk to us about that observation, given what we've now heard over the past few months.
Thank you, Lisa. So not necessarily a legal perspective, but a criminological perspective relating specific to the criminal justice system. So I think what it's showing us is that, and I think very categorically, is that we have quite a broken system. And I think unless we own the fact that we have a broken system and each one of those components are not gelling, they're not in harmony almost with each other. And of course, I think through those various commissions, we were able to understand why they are not working in harmony, and largely because of the corrupt activities and the corruption that exists within each one of these components.
And so, Prof, let's actually hone into what transpired. If we're looking and zooming into Matlala's evidence that was given this week over the past 2 days, I mean, it's sitting right at the intersection of organized crime in politics and policing, because he's an accused murder suspect and an alleged cartel boss. But there's been some serious allegations that he's uttered about senior police officers, politicians as well, including claims of cash payments. There was political interference, SABC tenders as well. Tell us about that, what was undergone on that front, and how the committee, if they successfully pinned him down on what empowered him to act in the manner that he allegedly did.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily think that they pinned him down in terms of what he actually did, because remember, at this point in time, he needs to absolve himself, and that's what we saw coming out of this his testimony. Of course, the fact that he drops names through the lines of inquiry that were posed at him, the committee, as well as I think the general public, were able to pick up where the gaps are in his testimony, but also linking that to the broader context of crime, corruption within the criminal justice system, but also linking that to what's happening within the political spheres. So I think, by and large, there was enough evidence that points to the fact that Vusimuzi is linked to the criminal underworld, but equally linked to politicians and members within SABC who have absolved and protected him over a long period of time. And I think what that has also shown us through his testimony is that he almost feels like he's untouchable, because he was very composed, arrogant at times when he needed to be, but almost like, I am protected, so nobody is going to find me guilty of these crimes because I'm innocent. And I think that's what largely came out through his testimony.
Yeah, his tone was defensive and cautious. It was interesting to watch his demeanor as well. But we also have to look at how Parliament should be balancing his rights as an accused person with the public's right to know about the alleged corruption in SABC. And I wonder if you could speak to that, because in court he's an accused, but in Parliament he's a whistleblower of sorts. And so if we're looking at his alleged criminal profile, the fact that he now may be seeking some kind of benefit about the credibility in the future, use of his evidence in any criminal proceedings. How do we balance that? Should obviously the matter continue further?
So Lisa, I think he was very well prepped by his
Yes.
legal team, because we saw at times when he said, I'm not going to give that kind of evidence
Yes.
in the event that it incriminates me. So you could see that. But I also think that, he's a very smart criminal. He knew how to articulate himself in the right ways when the need arose. Of course, when parliamentarians asked him specific questions that he was unprepared for, then he became uncomfortable. So we saw that as well. I do believe that they respected his rights, undoubtedly, because he was not treated as an accused, as an awaiting trial prisoner.
Yeah.
The only thing that in captivity, the only thing that's taken away from you is your right to liberty. And we saw that the fact that he came in cuffs meant that still stood. But the rest of it, I thought they were very humane, they respected his rights, and they questioned him as though they were questioning any of the other witnesses. Actually, I thought they were far more lenient with him, even in terms of the engagement and the rapport that they had with him.
Yeah, and there were some heated moments, of course, between him and Darlene James, where they had that rather heated encounter. But yes, to your point, it was a dignified manner, and the chairperson was very adamant that respect and decorum is maintained as well. I just wonder if we're looking at the allegations that's now come to the fore about senior police bosses and politicians as well, the legal consequences that happens from there into for these individuals, and realistically now what happens? Do criminal charges get laid? Are we looking at internal disciplinary hearings? Is it just political fallout at this point? But also, if the claims are then turn out to be false, I mean, there's issues of defamation that comes to the fore. And so what legal remedies exist on that front? Even perjury, if we look at that. Tell us a little bit more about the pros and cons at this point.
So I think it's very complex, as you rightfully pointed out. There will be, all of these allegations that he's making and whoever else made will have to be tested in court.
Yeah.
But there has to be people, somebody has to lay charges, etc., in terms of the process. But I think the important thing is to understand what is the mandate of the committee, what is the mandate of the commission, and what remedies are we expecting out of their own recommendations. So where people have been implicated, SAPS officials, parliamentarians, etc., what were the outcomes that we are expecting? But to respond directly to your question is what are the remedies, legal remedies, not just for them, but also for the country at large. Because
yes,
by and large, I think what the country is saying is, if these are tested in court, these allegations are tested in court and they are true, then there need to be legal consequences, because we need to start cleaning up our country. We need some, like I think you used the right words initially, in terms of the hygiene of our criminal justice system. So we need to resuscitate that hygiene in the criminal justice system. And of course, if there's,
yes.
I'm not sure, in terms of the defamation suits, etc., I think even that will have to be tested depending on the impact, the context in which it was made, etc.
Prof, if we even look at what has then been unearthed at the Madlanga Commission and the Ad Hoc Committee, what work there needs to happen in terms of the sharing of information and, whether there's corroborations, whether there are parallel, stories that align as well, the testimonies, more gaps, reappearing of witnesses as well. What's added to the mix now that we're starting to put more of the pieces of the puzzle together?
So I think the conversation on the ground at the moment, Liesl, is that, the society is watching, and they themselves are adjudicating on this various forms of testimony. And I think what's coming up very clearly is sometimes in each, the parallel processes, you can hear the contradictions, the various accusations, counter-accusations, counter-claims, etc. But I think by and large, we've got to understand what the mandate of each of this committee, the committee and the commission is, and how then will the criminal justice system, or actually the judiciary, be able, if at all, the evidence and use, collaborate or triangulate that evidence. At this point in time, I'm not sure what the mandates are for each of them. The the legal mandates, but I think we can wait and see in terms of how that plays itself out.
Prof, even if you look at the Nkabinde Inquiry at large and the role of the NPA, what precedents this also sets for it and its mandate, its work, some of the decisions, the risks that come with prosecutions, overcautious, maybe they become overcautious, maybe become too scared. When it comes to tough decisions, is that one aspect of spin-off that could happen, or does this also just solidify their role and the importance of it as they continue to look at the fitness to hold office of Andrew Chauke?
I think it would be very sad if we don't, resuscitate what the NPA is supposed, what its original mandate is. And I think this whole issue, and we know it's very real, the issue of fear for lives, the threats, etc., has come to the fore. And I'm not sure, we're going to have to do some really serious work to get rid of that, restore the ethics, the professionalism, as well as protection for prosecutors, etc. That's going to be really hard work, but absolutely has to be done to restore the credibility of the NPA and other organs of the criminal justice system.
Because all of this has knock-on effects as well, and we're obviously looking at what will happen with regards to the Mdluli matter as well, and other cases that were dropped, etc. Prof, thank you for your time. I'm going to have to leave the conversation there, but always a pleasure having you, just weighing in, and of course what transpired this week. Professor Nirmala Gopal joining us for analysis and helping us to unpack the legal, what's at stake legally, and of course we're going to now continue to track those developments. This is the Ad Hoc Committee continues, Madlanga Commission, Nkabinde Inquiry as well, all continues.